Hello, my name is Nicky Patton, and today we will be discussing obstacles that Black students face in college and university. Slavery was abolished back in 1865, and the civil rights movement has ended over 50 years ago. However, Black students still face many struggles at colleges and universities. There are steps that colleges and universities can take to remove these struggles and to make time in college a better experience for these students. For the purpose of this presentation, Black students are defined as those with characteristically Black features, for example, darker skin, coarser hair, a traditionally Black name. However, they are also defined as those who do not necessarily look Black, but might have parents that are partially or entirely Black. And finally, they might come from a mixed background. The first issue that we will be discussing today is colorblindness. Because race is such an uncomfortable topic to discuss, many people choose to ignore and disregard the differences in skin color. Julie J. Park states in her essay in Contested Issues in Student Affairs that the problem with colorblindness, well-intentioned as it may be, is that it leaves us without language to talk about the many ways race continues to affect people's lives here and now in the 21st century. Colorblindness tends to lead to the other issues that we'll be discussing throughout the rest of this presentation, such as microaggressions, student achievement gaps, and racist acts. Microaggressions are subtle acts and comments that remind a group that they are marginalized, according to Julie Park. A lot of times these microaggressions are not caused by overtly racist beliefs, but are actually caused by assumptions and ignorance. Some examples of microaggressions can be seen in these pictures. You're lucky to be Black. So easy to get into college. You're the whitest Black person I know. Why do you sound white? Your skin tone is so beautiful. It's not too dark. Courtney, I never see you as a Black girl. You don't act like a normal Black person, you know? Some other examples of microaggressions might be not trying very hard to learn a name that's hard to pronounce, assuming someone's background or socioeconomic status based on the color of their skin, or praising a student on their accent or something that might cause them to stick out. These situations are not intended, usually, to hurt students, but they do communicate to the student that something about them is different. These situations add up and they lead to stress in being a minority student. Annelle Prim addresses this by saying that compared to white students, students of color report higher rates of emotional distress in their freshman year and of keeping their difficulties to themselves. One step that universities and colleges can take to avoid these microaggressions is by increasing diversity in their staff and faculty. The National Education Association says that recruiting and retaining teachers of color is important, as some children of color will go through their entire educational career without having a teacher who looks like them or who can identify with the uniqueness of their cultural heritage. By hiring more people of color, other people will begin to notice the differences between Black and white people, and it'll become more common, stereotypes will be broken, and people will be less likely to act in ignorance. The National Education Association points out that often Black students are unnecessarily placed in a special education class, and the number of Black students who take honors and advanced courses remains significantly below that of other groups. The achievement gap can be a cycle that is never ending. When Black students are placed in a special education class, they don't achieve to their highest ability. In addition, the NEA also states that the neediest schools are usually underfunded, and unfortunately, these schools are often located in predominantly Black neighborhoods. Therefore, these students might receive poorer quality education. One way that college and universities can address this issue is by admitting students based on who they are as the whole person, not purely based on their test scores or their GPA. They can also keep in mind that Not all students were given the same chance throughout their prior education, and take that into consideration. Throughout my time as a professional in student affairs, one of the biggest issues in terms of racism that I have seen is students writing racial slurs in the snow or dust on each other's cars. CNN recently reported that at Michigan University's gift shop, dolls representing important Black historical figures had been hung from a display tree. The Los Angeles Times reported that a Chapman University student was arrested for running around campus and drunkenly proclaiming racial slurs. The Chronicle of Higher Education reported on a story regarding a college president. This president was giving a speech, and he said that he would not choose to divest from fossil fuels simply because everybody in the room wanted him to. He said that if everybody in the room wanted him to shoot all the Black people there, he wouldn't do that either. Unfortunately, these kinds of overtly racist acts do still happen on college campuses. Administrations need to address these situations more seriously than those discussed previously. They must have a no-tolerance policy. This shows Black students that the administration supports them and will protect them no matter what. They must punish all racist acts, but in addition, they must also reach out to Black students following these issues and make sure that they're receiving the care they need. Slavery, the civil rights movement, and racism seem like topics that just aren't worth talking about today, but unfortunately, Black students on campuses still experience all of these, particularly in the form of microaggressions, unfair achievement gaps, and acts of racism. Colleges can take many steps to address and fight these inequalities, but it is important for them to start simply by bringing awareness to these issues. The NEA says that all students deserve a quality public education. This can only occur when we close the gaps in equity and access. It's on the administrations to make sure that this happens.